peace and quiet. Those little footprints fleshed out calm in my mind. I lay like a compass, digits accusing the sunrise. Raindrops outsail the window and flinch through the hood cry. And the sweat now comes peace and quiet. Your head on my heart anchors the storm in my eyes. I lay like a carcass, your lips never letting the blood dry. And so I pray for tomorrow, and we're listening out for a reply.
White Lies joining us live on KCRW. They are coming to us from the Village Studios in West LA today. You guys sound great.
Thank you very much.
I love that song, Peace and Quiet, from the album Ritual. In fact, we have copies to give away a little bit later, as well as tickets for the show tonight at the Troubadour in West Hollywood. I'm also glad you played Streetlights. I love that song.
Thank you very much. Yeah. It's I think Peace and Quiet though is our favourite track off the record. It's always good fun to play that live. So I'm glad
I
you
like
enjoyed
that.
that. Yeah.
I also like Power and Glory a lot.
We've
play
got that one coming up a little bit later. So
Excellent. So I've worked out the timeline here. You joined us last August 5th of 2009. So you are correct. Earlier that year was the year you were at South by Southwest and Coachella. But in any case, it seems like a lot has happened in a short amount of time.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we've made another record. That's the big thing. But we've also, I think, grown quite a lot as a band. I think if you listen to the performance we played for you guys in 2009 and listen to the one we're playing for you now, there'll be a huge difference. I think we've stepped everything up quite a lot, I think.
Do you have a preference of kind of venue? Do you like the club intimacy, or do you like, kind of festivals or a larger scale?
I think for me personally, my favourite show has been the one we played in London at a venue called Brixton Academy, which is I guess it's about 5,000 people, 5,500 people, and that's just an amazing venue for me. It's a venue that I think we all grew up with and seen some amazing shows at, but it's a perfect size with the perfect sound. It's loud and it's a proper rock venue. I think that would be our favourite.
Was that also kind of a homecoming for you?
Definitely, yeah.
Any other cities that were maybe surprising in just how it all went down?
we've developed a quite surprising following in Poland, which has been really great. It was somewhere that I think felt a little bit off the map in some ways to us when we were considering a regular European touring schedule, but we got booked to play a festival called the Opener Festival there 2 summers ago, and had one of the best shows we've ever had there. An amazing turnout, and just thousands of people singing along to songs we didn't even expect them to know.
Yeah.
And since then we've been back to Warsaw quite a few times and had some great shows there. So that's been a surprising one. We've also just visited South America recently and played a great show in Chile, again, which is not the usual stop off for a British rock band. But I hope with this album it's going to take us to some more places like that.
Yeah.
That's really what we look forward to.
And how about as you kind of learn, continue to learn to be a band, to be a great band? I wonder about interaction with other groups. Have you found it kind of supportive on the road or nurturing? Are there any bands that have really kind of reached out and said, here are the ropes, let's kind of help out, or what do you think?
I think we had a really great time actually touring with Kings of Leon in the States, and I suppose they did sort of take us under their wing, and they looked after us, and they took us out for a few drinks. I'm not sure if it was really I'm not sure if they were trying to teach us anything or not, but they were nice to us, and that's I don't know, that's kind of unusual for a band of their size and their level of success. So that felt really good, and we really enjoyed that whole tour.
Do you have those ambitions to be kind of as big as a group like Kings of Leon?
I'm not sure, but I do really admire their career path. I think the way, especially in the UK, it's different over here because they became huge on, I think, their 4th record here. But in the UK, they grew very gradually as a band and sort of stepped up to a slightly bigger venue on each record. And I really admire the way they grew as a band. They always felt, I don't know, very comfortable. They always looked very comfortable on each stage that they played at and at each stage of their career. So I think that's something that we would perhaps like for ourselves.
Yeah, that's an important point. It is. Tell us, going into the album Ritual, what did you have things that you really wanted to accomplish, kind of a checklist going into it?
I think I think our main aim really was just to try and make a more confident and ambitious record than the first, which I think was very important to us, considering we've been touring for 2 years and playing together, and we wanted to feel like we were growing as a band. So I think that was definitely our main aim, was to feel like we'd achieved something new and something different with the second record.
Were you writing throughout, being out on the road through 2009?
We weren't, actually. I think we'd find it quite difficult to write on the road, and I wouldn't really want to write a record in that way, because we kind of wanted to keep it coherent and as one body of work that was, I suppose, put together in the space of a few months, which is what we did. So we waited until the beginning of March last year, and then we went. Charles spent a few weeks at my family home in my living room, and we just wrote the record and did it then. But I think it was a good way to work, because we were kind of holding ourselves back from being creative for 2 years pretty much. So it kind of felt really good. Felt like a release when we finally got to start writing again. It was really exciting for us. And
it does feel like you're moving into a zone, or a comfort zone in terms of how the songs are structured, and there's a balance there. Do you feel that sense just working together on the music, that you're kind of getting you continue to get your groove?
I think to remember, which is tricky, when a lot of bands are talking these days, it's things have changed since in the last 10 years, in that for a band to be making a second record is actually quite an achievement now. There's so much disposable music that is partly due to the bands and the acts, and partly due to the way that the industry works. So I think whilst we're excited at the way we're progressing with the second record, we still see it as only the very first steps in hopefully quite a successful creative career. And when we're making this record, we're still quite blind really into what we're doing. We're just going with our gut instinct and going with what we think, what we feel sounds good. I think once maybe you've made 6 or 7 records, you can start to make more sort of intellectual and intelligent decisions about the creativity, and you can start to do things like plan an album beforehand. We're always asked if we've planned this album, and really we just went in and did whatever we felt like. Yeah.
Well, it sounds great. It's a big sound. It feels very epic. Something I like about your music is it's epic, man. So I was also curious to see a Stereolab remix showing up just recently. That's an interesting choice. Did you guys seek out Stereolab to do a remix?
We did, yeah. They're I don't know, that we've had a few remixes done recently of acts that seem to be, I don't know if they're hibernating or what they're doing, but we've sort of pulled a few people out the woodworks. Stereolab is a great one. They've remixed a track called Is Love, which is seemed an appropriate song for them to do. It's actually, it's got elements, the original of some of the things that they've done in the past, so that's been great. We've also managed to find the electronic artist Venetian Snares, which I think we sort of asked for as a somewhat of a joke in the first place. We didn't think he'd ever do it, or we would even find him, and he's done a suitably interesting remix
of the song we're going to play next.
Of the song we're going to play next, yeah. What a fantastic segue I've just created.
That is. Perfect segue. Well, without further ado, let's get into your second set. And we do have tickets for the show tonight at the Troubadour, as well as autographed copies of Ritual, our guests live on KCRW, White Lies.